Hi, my name is Nicola Callahan and I am the subject leader for Latin, Classical Civilization and Ancient History here at Herts and Essex, and I'm going to take you through an overview of what it is like to study Latin at A-level, and then you are going to hear some testimonials from some of our current A-level students. So, as I just mentioned, my name is Nicola Callahan and I am the subject leader for classics here at Herts and Essex. So, if you do choose to study A-level Latin here, you will be taught by both myself and Mr. Guy Barrett, who is a teacher of classics here at the school. So an overview of the subject then, 50% of the Latin A-level is made up of two language papers. So for the first paper you will be expected to translate a passage of prose and a passage of poetry. This is unseen, it is not dissimilar to the GCSE. There is more vocabulary that you are required to learn. The texts that you are translating are unadapted, but that actually makes it a lot more exciting because you are translating real pieces of Latin literature from real authors. In terms of grammar, there isn't that much more for you to learn, and actually the understanding of grammar is developed more in the second paper, which is the comprehension paper, where you are expected to understand in greater depth the grammatical constructions that you learnt at GCSE. So rather than just translating naturally from Latin into English, you're expected to understand and explain those grammatical constructions that are appearing in your translations. So you touch on that a little bit at GCSE, it's just developed in greater depth at A-level. You will then, the other 50% of your exam then is made up of your two literature papers. So you will do one prose literature and one verse literature paper. As you can see, they are both worth 25% each, and they are 2-hour papers that you will sit at the end of year 13. All papers are sat at the end of year 13, so you've got 2 whole years to prepare yourself for these A-level exams. So for you, if you did choose to do Latin next year, your Year 12 prose literature that you will have to do is by the amazing orator Cicero, and it's his Pro Cloentio. Cicero is the greatest Roman lawyer that ever existed. He is perhaps also the greatest Roman orator. That's arguable, but I like to think so. Um, the Pro Cloentio is a set of speeches that he wrote in the defence of a man called Cloentius, who had been accused by his mother Sassia of having poisoned his stepfather Oppianicus. So Cicero is defending this man on a murder trial. So it's really exciting. You get to see some of the great Cicero rhetoric in these speeches, and Cicero was so successful in his defence of Cloentius that Cloentius was in fact absolved of all of his charges. So it's a really exciting piece of literature. It's actually the one that I studied for my A-levels, so I'm really excited to go through that with you next year. Then for your verse literature, we have the option of two brilliant Roman poets, Virgil and Catullus. They're both brilliant for two different reasons. Virgil, I love, he wrote the Aeneid. Some of you may have studied the Aeneid for your GCSE set text. If we do decide to do Aeneid for your Year 12 exam, or your Year 12 set text, then we will study Book 12, which is the final showdown between Aeneas and his counterpart Turnus. It is the battle between the two sides to see whether Aeneas will be victorious over the Latins and will in fact get to achieve his final fate and his destiny. So it's a really exciting bit. Or if we choose to do the Catullus, we are a bit undecided because both are brilliant. But Catullus was a love poet, so you would get to study several of his poems that he wrote, mainly to a woman called Lesbia. And let's just say it was an unrequited love that he had. He pours his heart out, bless him, to this woman who doesn't necessarily show him great levels of affection back. Again, two brilliant pieces of literature. At A level, the only difference is that you are learning or getting to study more pieces in greater depth. So it's exactly the same skills that you're developing at GCSE, it's just you're building on them and getting to study them in a bit more depth at A level. So in terms of entry requirements, to be able to study A-level Latin, we do require you to have a GCSE grade 7 in Latin. That is because of the amount of detail that you are expected to go into. You needed to have developed the skills at GCSE to a high enough level to then be able to access the course. So we do ask for a GCSE grade 7 for you to be able to study the A level. And lots of people then ask, where is A-level Latin going to take you? Will anyone care that you can translate pages and pages of Cicero? Well, although that's a brilliant skill to have, what Latin does is it shows an employer that you are dedicated, that you are committed, that you are resilient, that you are highly intelligent, and it enables you to have an access to such a broad range of careers. So medicine, law, veterinary science, pharmacology. I've had people go into advertising, research. If you want to have a job in a museum, there are so many doors that will be open to you if you study A-level Latin. It shows that you are a problem solver, a critical thinker, and as I say, it shows that you are a problem solver, that you have the ability to think and to think outside the box as you are dealing with a time period that is just alien to us. It's so unlike our own. We're talking about things that happened over 2,000 years ago. We've had great success with our A-level Latin students in the past. Lots of students achieving top grades and therefore getting to go off to study classics at the most prestigious universities in the country. We had, in the last 2 years alone, we've had 3 students go off to study classics at Cambridge. We've sent multiple students to Durham, Warwick, Exeter, King's, and all the Scottish universities. So we've sent them to St Andrews and Glasgow and Edinburgh. So wherever you decide to go, if you do want to study classics at a university, I can assure you that we have prepared and sent students to all of the best universities in this country. So you will have friends, Hearts and Essex friends, wherever you go. So I'm now going to let you hear from some of our current A-level Latin students, and they will talk you through some of the things that they have enjoyed about studying the course.
Lizzie, what do you find most interesting about studying Latin?
I think it's really interesting studying the original text and actually getting into the proper Latin rather than just the stories from the ancient world. And I think also having studied ancient history, it does help with all the translations as well, and it makes it more interesting, and you can put all the pieces together, which I think is really nice. And then also all the literature is absolutely amazing, and all the style notes and just the stories are so interesting to know about. And then also with Cicero, as well as the Aeneid that we've been studying, I think it's so nice to see a politician's view as well. And what do you want to do in the future?
Well, I plan on I aim to study classics at Cambridge. I've just sent in my application, so I can continue my Latin studies and also ancient Greek, and then also the studies of like the ancient history, the art, and just in general about the classical world.